that can't do whatever it wants to do.
Right.
And can we see that? And then what happens when we take that out into the world and we make big, gross judgments about now, for example, Muslims, you know, that as is includes not just your shape, your size, your color, your ethnicity, but the religion that you're born into. You know, you're a tiny baby, you're born into a family. You're not asking a bunch of questions and taking notes and saying, well, I'm not sure if this is for me or not. Maybe later you do that. And really getting inside each other's lives to get to know people as full-fledged human beings is a big part of my mission.
Now, in your reaching out, as you've gone from the survivors of hate crime murders and you know, things that have happened in the community, how do you then how do you work your activism? How do you spread this message besides the programs that you do with church and school groups and others? How do you bring this further out into the world?
Well, I think that's a wonderful question, because I think that one of the things that that all of us can do is that we can write a letter to the editor. We can call somebody who runs, you know, a radio station or a television station, that this stuff flies fast and furiously through the media sphere in all kinds of ways. And we can stand up and say something to that. I think one of the other things that is very disturbing these days is that the internet, Facebook and texting has become a venue for tremendous amounts of teasing and bullying, and really needs a tremendous amount of activism and people standing up and creatively working against this, and certainly always trying to be an ally for people who are being assaulted or teased or bullied or attacked on that basis. I did a program at a local high school, and I think you'd be surprised if I said which one, but you know, really one of the top schools in the nation. And after the program, a young man came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. I'm Muslim, but nobody here knows it." And it really took my breath away, because I understood he felt that in order to feel safe and not too vulnerable, he had to pass. And we know what that has meant throughout history when you, you know, felt like if you could, you tried to pass as not Jewish, you know, during the time of the Nazis, as not black.
Europa.
Exactly, exactly. So I think there are all kinds of things that can be done, you know, on a one-to-one basis, and then you can throw yourself out into the world and try to be more proactive and have a bigger voice.
Beyond your programs, then, that you do, are there any other larger projects that you work on to combat these stereotypes of perception?
Well, right now I'm really trying to focus primarily on the programs, and it's because, I mean, I have done different things at different times. So I started something called the Campaign for Collateral Compassion. We think of collateral damage, and collateral damage usually means we're waging a war and we're trying to bomb this particular bad guy or these particular military targets. But, well, one of the unfortunate side effects of war is that the bomb goes wider, more people die, civilians die, and we call that collateral damage, of course. And those are real people. Those are innocent people who just are caught up in this atmosphere, very much the way these men who were perfectly innocent were caught in something after September 11th that they had absolutely no part of. And so that was something that I was trying to do at that point, to really address that and go at it from a different perspective.
As I recall from my reading, you were also involved in helping to provide these families with some monetary support for the loss of support and income, you know, that they suffered as their family members were murdered.
Well, I tried. That was kind of my initial impulse, was that their breadwinners had died the way the family breadwinners who were on the planes or in the towers or in the Pentagon. and that this vast amount of money that poured into charities after September 11th, that some of it could go to these families who were also part of the overall September 11th tragedy. Now that really, I couldn't make that happen. That was really a pretty futile effort on my part. But that's when I began to say to myself, now what can I do? And I had these extraordinary stories. For example, the Hindu gentleman who I've now spent many opportunities and times in the gas station where his wife now works. I know that he was an extraordinary, just exceptional, generous member of the community. You could pull into his gas station without enough money to fill your tank, and you could leave with the tank filled with the personal promise that you would come back and pay him. I think that's extraordinary. And I have so many stories and photographs and really trying to make clear to people who those distant others are in reality.
If someone wants to get more information on you or your programs, what's available to them, where can they go?
Well, they can obviously go to my website, which is anyacordell.com.